Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I have the beautiful Ambika Devi with me today. How you doing, Ambika?
I'm doing great, Catherine. It's so much fun to be back. I'm excited.
I'm glad you're back too. It's so good to see you. I'm so happy to see you. Yeah, I know. It's funny because I tend to take a couple of weeks off, and sometimes the reason I do that is I do get, I tend to get involved in myself. I take a mental break.
As we do.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you're just like, you want to keep it regular. You want to keep the show regular and stuff like that. But, sometimes you just need to take a step back. You just need to kind of do things that are for yourself or whatever it is. But it's always, always a pleasure to have you. It's so good to see you. We were so just before the show, Amika was telling me that before we get into that, actually, I do want to tell everybody that I am doing another show on Sunday, and I'll be again here on Wednesday just to kind of make up for some of the past weeks that I've missed. I do apologize. And also remember that if you do want a personal reading with me, you can contact me at oracleintuitions.com. If you want a personal reading with Ambika, you can reach her at ambikadevi.com. Also, I wanted to show this off. This is an organite that I created last week. And I was really drawn in. I had gone to, so we used to have a local gem store here in the area that I used to go to all the time. And it was just a beautiful energy. But they closed down, unfortunately. And so I was at a flea market, and it was funny because it was one of those things where I was in this place of like, where am I going to find crystals again? Because I really don't want to order them online, because I'm kind of like, I want to touch and I want to hold them and I want to check them out and all of that stuff, right? Like I'm like a visual touchy person. You know what I mean? And so I finally found some at a flea market, and this guy, he had this beautiful crystal. It's called zebra citrine. And so I thought, you know what? This is beautiful. I just want to make an organite out of this. And so I got really drawn into it. It probably took me, I don't know, close to a week with all of the
Those angles
angles.
that's what I mean. Hold it up closer. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, if any of you have ever tried to do this, what Catherine does, making this and the clean lines she's getting, and particularly across the whole surface, she's really masterful at it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I actually, it's one of those things that I get into, and I'm sort of like, when I'm working with resin, I tell you, I am just in my element. I'm lost. The world could be burning, and I'm just like, I just love getting in. It's like it's my getaway for sure. Thank you so much. And you guys, you can order custom organites online. All you have to do is, again, go to my webpage. I also make memorial organites. So you can get an organite, however you want it, but with somebody's ashes put in them. And this really does, it's a nice way to memorialize your loved ones without having to worry about like an urn. This is something that you can actually put on your, if you want to put it beside your bed or in your living room as a ornament,
and it won't spill.
And it will never spill. You'll never have to worry about, oh my God, am I going to have to vacuum up my loved one? Right? Like it's in there, and it is solid. I wanted to say hi to people watching. Hi, Dana. It's so good to see you. Hi, son. Thank you so much for joining us today. I truly appreciate it. And so look, before the show, we were talking, Ambika, about this new tarot deck that you got, and it was and we got into a tarot conversation, and it was interesting because I don't know how many decks. I'm assuming I have over 100 decks. I'm looking towards where I keep them all, and there's probably about 100 there. And I love each and every one of them. Some of them resonate more than others, obviously, but you just got a new one.
I did. As you can see, everybody who's watching, I'm wearing a Hawkins AV t-shirt because I'm a super fan of Stranger Things. So when I found out Stranger Things tarot deck was coming out, that didn't really read well. See what I mean about the printing? Okay, so I'm going to give a really candid review of this.
Before
I
you
love,
before you start, I just wanted to
okay.
tell everybody who's watching, if you do want to have a reading with us today, remember that it is a $10 donation. You can send it to my email. It's going across the screen, or you can send it email transfer if you're in Canada to crogers5555 at gmail.com. And again, it's going across the screen, so you'll be able to see it. And we will be doing live readings for whoever wants one. Again, just send in the donation, and we'll probably be getting to readings in the next 20 minutes or so. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay, go
Oh
ahead.
gosh, no, come on. This is all about hanging out and having a good time. So,
Exactly.
I was super excited because if any of you have bought tarot decks, you usually get to see one or two, maybe 5 cards before you buy it, and they're usually the really nice ones. Of course, the publisher is going to put what they think are either popular cards to show, or they're going to show you what they think is, just the really catchy artwork. But it probably wouldn't have mattered for me with
Yeah.
with this. But what happened was I saw Murray, who is a character on Stranger Things, as the Hierophant, and I was like, that's it. I'm buying it. I knew it right then. But then as I started going through it when it came yesterday, one thing that really threw me, and this happens a lot. I mean, we could even take it all the way back to the argument of which is really fire and which is really air, right?
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
I say wands are fire, I say swords are air.
Yeah.
We agree on this. I
Yeah.
already know that. Now, I understand that maybe you don't want to use that symbology in Stranger Things. So there are strands, which we both intuitively figured out that's fire.
Right. Right.
I don't know. There are vines in the upside down. I don't know why they didn't call them vines. Strands. Okay, I get it. And then there's the suit of scoops. Now, when I cracked the deck open and I saw ice cream scoops, and mind you, these minor arcana cards are just going to have numbers on them. So if you're not a really
Right.
adept reader and you're really used to rider waite symbolism
Yeah.
in the minor arcana, this is going to be a little bit more challenging for you.
Yeah, and if
It
they don't say the names on them as well, you're gonna have to, know the major
Oh, well,
arcana.
it's got the number and the name, but it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
say the same suit we're used to. So
Right.
now we're translating a couple things. So when I saw scoops, I thought, oh, that has to be cups, ice cream
Yeah.
cones. No, this is discs. This is pentacles. So it's like, okay, food. All right, I'll justify that one. And then the suit of dice. Okay, that the very first episode, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
And so dice is the suit of swords. Okay.
It makes no sense. Well, for me, it makes no sense, but I don't really watch the show, so I'm kind of like,
I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's really is a die really representational of a sword.
right.
Again, I'd have to really stretch it because when you're playing a game and you're rolling dice,
Yeah.
it's giving you a directive. So, okay, swords are communication. I feel like I bent it. And then the suit of spokes. Okay, Will rides a bicycle. They all ride bicycles, but in the very first episode of the first season, his bike is left as he was taken into the upside down. And this is our suit of cups. I'm like, why did they do that? I don't know. But anyway, there's that. I think the printing's a bit dark, so it's not going to translate if I show you. But I do think they kind of hit it on a few. I wish Sadie Sink's character, Mad Max, had been the Hanged Man. I thought she was a great floating person. But see how red and there's just too much red and black, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit dark.
It's a little dark. Yeah, for sure.
The world, they did an interesting symbolic gesture on the world. This would be the character of 11 holding Hopper's hand. The tower is merely one of the snaky kind of things in the upside down. Now the devil, I think they blew it on this. Why didn't they do Vecna? And unless the fourth season wasn't out when they were designing it, and they didn't really have that Vecna character.
Right.
So they just made it this isn't working for me, people who made this deck. Sorry. The lovers, it's cute. It's Alan Will. That makes sense. The emperor is Hopper, and the empress is Will's mom, played by Winona Ryder. The Wheel of Fortune had to be an Eggo waffle, so Eggos play really big in there. But they just kind of blew it on a few, and they reused the same characters in this major deck. But if anybody wants to see a particular card from the majors, I have them here, so you can just ask us and I'll pull it out and show you. And what I was telling Cathryn before we came on live is I don't mind it when I buy a deck and I don't want to use all the minors, because I like to do readings sometimes with just the majors.
Right.
And an interesting reading to do with just the majors is a 12 house, like the 12 houses in astrology, with just the majors. That's a really cool reading to do. And sometimes when I'm working on Purple Ocean, where we both work on the Purple apps, sometimes if I always use my regular Rider-Waite deck to do readings on Purple, but sometimes I need a little more info, and then I'll shuffle up my majors and do a 12 house spread, and that always gives me more information. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. What would I give it on a scale of 5? 3.5, I guess. But being a super fan, I had to have it, you know.
There's been some decks where, you know, I've received them. There's a couple of them that really kind of confuse me, you know, because you're looking at them and you're like, this makes no sense. You know what I mean?
Can you name one?
Yeah, the Akashic Tarot. I don't mind it, you know, but it did take some work to get to learn it. And it is a typical tarot, but it's not a typical tarot. Like there, you know, again, you have I think there was scrolls and something, like a few other, I can't remember all of them right now, but you're sort of looking at them. I mean, scrolls, okay, I can understand as sort of being swords, but at the same degree, when you're trying to do a reading, and if it's your only deck and you're used to it, fine, right? But if you're used to working with the typical like Rider-Waite, and you know those off by heart, then you've got to stop and go, wait, what am I doing? And then it's for me, it tends to lose the flow. Like, you know what I mean? You tend to lose the flow, because a lot of times when I'm doing tarot, I'm just pulling those cards out, and they're telling, like, when I do tarot, they usually tell me a story. And a lot of times,
I hope so.
Yeah, well, they're telling me a story of not just like what is happening at the moment, but it's sort of like, you know, from beginning to end. And so I do a lot of, like, when I do personal readings, not so much on Purple Ocean, because we only usually have like a minute or two or 5 minutes or whatever it is, you know. You can't really, you know, tell the complete story that you want to. But, you know, when I'm doing a personal reading with somebody, for me, it's like, okay, here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the end, where's the flow, and you know what I mean. And it's sort of like reading a book for me to some degree, and so, you know, if I have to stop and go, wait a minute, wait, but you know, a lot of times, you know, I do read intuitively too. So I mean, I might see a card and I'm going to tell you something different than maybe what the typical book has to say, right?
Yes,
Because again,
absolutely.
it's going into, you know, sort of a different area of, you're just listening to the cards, or you're listening to the messages that are coming through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have, it's interesting because I was a Supernatural fan, like the TV show Supernatural. I really seriously thought about getting them, just to have them. I don't know if I would ever use them. I don't know if they would be, those cards that I would pull out and use on
Mm-hmm.
air or anything like that. But then I heard, similar to what you were saying about the Stranger Things, is that a lot of the cards really didn't match.
Mm. Yes, and I wonder how in depth they are researching or talking or polling different tarotists to get
Yeah.
their opinion. I think for those of you designing decks, I encourage you to ask more people what they think, or at least
Mhm.
several, because if it's just one idea, I think you've got to get the ideas of a few different readers. I think
Yeah.
like the David Bowie deck, I had to have the David Bowie deck. It is
Right.
beautiful. The printing's beautiful. It's nice and clear, real super colorful. I don't think I would read that deck. It's just a collector's item for me. They're really large scale. I find them difficult to shuffle when they're
Yeah.
huge. I
Right. Yeah,
tend,
I
though,
do
to
too.
put my
My hands
cards
are too
face
small
down
even
and
for a normal deck. Like,
mix them.
literally, even a normal deck, I have a lot of, trouble sometimes shuffling because my hands are so big, right?
Well, maybe you need a
Are
bigger
so
deck
small,
then.
so
So
small. I meant
small.
the decks are big.
Right.
Vice versa. Yeah.
I have always when if I'm with a in-person client, I put them face down on the table and make a big mess out of them, and then I have the client use both hands and mix them around. That's how poker was originally shuffled,
Right.
because early on cards had no coding at all. The paper was much more porous, and so you couldn't really shuffle like we see shuffling now. Even the movies depicting it should really be like mahjong tiles. And
Right.
so
Right.
I shuffle like that myself anyway. I find that way you're changing direction of upright versus reversed, because I do read reversals.
Yeah.
I know some people don't, and that's fine. And so I do a combination of shuffling techniques.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody is just saying, Melanie is just saying, I got 2 packs, messages from angels and healing with angels. I think those, I could be wrong. Are those the Radley Valentine decks, Melanie? Yeah. And I saw the scammer. I actually has deleted her and blocked her from the page. So thank you so much. Yeah. Melanie just posted that, we had a scammer coming on. There was somebody that was, one of those, hey honey, I got a message for you, just send me a DM, kind of people, and I got rid of
Wow,
them.
how bizarre. Well, when I was first starting out, back when I was working as a musician, and I made my first CD and I was selling them, I had gone to a used CD store and found a bunch of my CDs there.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
wow.
got I got depressed at first, and my music partner said, "No, that means they're like circulating more, you know." I
Yeah.
bought them back and then I sold them. Because sometimes I would give promo CDs to people and then they would just take them to used stores, which was
Right.
lame.
Yeah.
But I would buy them back up and sell them, or give them as gifts. And as far as advertising back in the day when it was all paper, uh, the saying was, when you see your advertising on the ground or as trash, you've made it.
Right.
Strange, our society, isn't it?
Well, it is, yep. I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting stranger every day, but what do you do?
Nice way to wrap up Stranger Things. Very good.
Yeah.
Uh, the
You
other
ever
thing we were talking about is karma,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I got into a discussion of karma with a friend of mine today, and it got me to pull out some of my favorite astrology books. I had been rereading a book that I had been assigned to read when I went to college, when I went to university for astrology. Yes, I actually did. I have a college degree in astrology, and I was rereading Liz Green's book about Saturn. This is a really good book on Saturn. And then talking about karma, a lot of people only think of the north and south nodes as the
Right,
karmic
right,
indicators in a chart.
right.
And what I really want everybody to expand out, to back up and think about is Saturn has a lot to do with this, because Saturn is time. The 12th house, the we can look at all sorts of things. We can look at Pluto in the 8th house. We can look at relationships. And then when things are happening, that's the thing. You can't just look at one point in an astrological chart and then deduce tons of information. You have to
Yeah.
back up and look at its relationship to everything. Same thing we do when we're reading cards. Karmic Astrology is a really good book by Martin Schulman too, if you want to dive into it more. And this is focused on the part of fortune. I don't know if you're familiar with that in astrological terms. It's actually a mathematical point that has to do with a harmony between the moon and the sun in a chart.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
people can say, oh, that's your lucky spot. No, this is a deeply karmic spot.
Right.
And it has a lot to do with people that you meet. So when somebody else's chart has something that is conjunct or really strongly aspecting
Right.
your part of fortune and yours theirs, that's when there's karma.
Okay. Okay. So now when we're talking karma, um how do you define that?
Oh, action.
Okay. Okay.
Karma equals action. You have to remember, I do read Sanskritam, which is Sanskrit, which is where the word karma came from. It's actually pronounced like that. When we say it in English, we're actually saying a different word, but that's
Right.
okay. Uh, but what it is there's different types of karma. So I think another thing that gets generalized in the, what do we call ourselves? We don't call ourselves new age anymore. The In the metaphysical community, let's call
Right.
it that.
Right. Yeah.
I think a lot of times people just see it as you did something in the past, so that's why this is happening to you.
Mhm.
I would like to really stop that thought
Right.
path. I don't think that's healthy or helpful for
Right.
anyone. The thing that we have to understand when we're talking about popping into a new body and having a lifetime
Yeah.
is that the soul made a choice to work on certain things, to with hopes of elevating and
Growing and
growing, and evolving.
yeah.
And so the soul makes an agreement. Okay, these are the types of things I'm open to working on. And
Right.
then we land in a place at a time where we have higher potential, not necessarily guaranteed to be able to have opportunity to work on them. Now, we could miss the opportunities. We could go through the whole lifetime and not handle it. So, some of the gathering of karma then is then brought forward. It's like, wait a minute, you didn't finish this in the last life. So,
Right.
maybe you
Right.
have to work on it a little bit more or more intensely with more challenges. And the karma that we bring through from the past, and it is a culmination, is called pradubdha karma. It's a particular type. So when we're just saying karma, a lot of people are meaning pradubdha karma, but they're using a more generalized term, which is incorrect.
Right.
And the thing is, we have what are called seeds in English. They're potentials, and they could sprout or not. And it depends
Yeah.
again on our choices. This is where our free will comes into play. I don't know about you, Cathryn. Answer this one for me. When we're getting asked questions, especially when we're doing readings like we do on the purple apps, and we're being written a few sentences or maybe a page of paragraphs, but it's usually in those shorter questions when people are using the word will this happen? Will I get this? Will the no, because you're not even asking the right question. You need to turn it around and put it on you and take responsibility. This is working the action of your prarabdha karma of saying, what can I do to be the change that will then create this around me? And when it comes to relationships, one of the most important factors is to realize that every relationship that comes to us is a result of where we are in that moment when it appears.
Yeah. You know, and that is so very true. There's a lot of people, and I think it's kind of relating to what you're saying, but I actually did a podcast not that long ago, and we were talking about like our souls, and for me it's, it was with spirit guides and stuff like that, and it's interesting because for me, when I receive messages, it usually, for me, it comes through my guides, or it just comes through, however it comes is going to come. If it's somebody that's passed away, it's usually that person in particular will appear, however, and again, but there's a lot of people that, they'll say, and you've probably dealt with this in readings so many times as well. They'll say, well, I just want a healthy relationship. But here's the thing. Okay, that's all fine and dandy to have a healthy, but what are you defining as healthy? And that's
Exactly.
where a lot of people, skip out on. They don't define healthy, or healthy to them. So, okay, what do you define as healthy? Okay, well, I don't want anybody that drinks. Okay, well, that's good. Okay, that's a start. So where do they go? They go to the fucking bar. Somebody, right? And then they'll be like, well, every time I go to the bar, I can't meet anybody.
Well, you might try going to the gym, but I had to stop going to the gym because people did not wipe equipment. I don't know how healthy that is either.
Right. Or, it's this sort of, behavior, and they repeat those patterns, right? And to some degree it is a form of karma. It's like you're not learning your lesson, so you're going to keep attracting this particular type of person. They might have different names and they might have different body skin, but really essentially they're going to be similar souls, because of the fact that you're not elevating your soul. You're not you're not ascending yourself to be in a place where you're going to bring these people through in a healthy manner, right? So it's just like a repeated energy that just goes around and around and around, and it's ridiculous. So people have to define what it is that they're wanting, what it is that they're looking for, and right there, through that definition in itself, they're going to be in a place of bringing through something. But here's the trick. And I do feel this. Spirit tests us a lot, and we might say, oh, okay, well, I want somebody who isn't a drinker, or isn't this, or isn't that, or whatever it is. And Spirit will be like, okay, that sounds good. Great for you. Okay, you threw that out into the universe. We've heard you. We've listened. We're going to bring you this person anyway and see what you do with that. Because at that point, are you really ready for what it is that you're asking for? Because, a lot of people, they go into this place of like hesitation, or they go into this place of, oh, well, it's just this time. Maybe he's different. Maybe I can change him. Maybe, maybe she'll be a different person, whatever it is. And they're still bringing through that same energy. And so spirit's like, well, you keep asking for healthy energy, you know, a healthy relationship, and all you're basically doing is attracting the same stuff. So why should we go out of our way to keep bringing to try to bring you something that is going to be healthy for you when you just keep going this way? It's really interesting.
Well, that's
I
why you
found that
have
a
to
lot.
be the change. You know, that's exactly what Gandhi was saying, is that
Mhm.
you have to be the change. You have to make the changes in you. So I understand. I mean, I've heard that question so many times, you know, of what I want. And the first place is to stop and look around at what you have and be grateful,
Yeah.
because you attract, I mean, this is the one of the
Hmm.
main factors through the law of attraction, is that you have to be grateful for what you already have so that you can attract more. I think one of the best speakers on that is Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
really like a lot of Abraham stuff that comes through. I don't listen to it on a regular basis, but I actually did when I first really got started into the law of attraction. That was something that I really did listen to more often,
Hmm.
and you know, go through the books and all of that. Also, I really like Eckhart Tolle as well.
Hmm. Yes. Well, I've been a part of Shivananda Ashram for many, many years, and I am taking a course right now with one of my favorite teachers, um, who is teaching one of Swami Shivananda's courses. This is what the Swamis and the Chaitanyas teach. You know, they teach all of these courses and lessons that have been developed. But this was a course that Swami Shivananda actually used to teach, and it's on the auto suggestion. So the power of auto suggestion, taming the mind, is a big part of what meditation is.
Hmm.
But this is the one and only course that Swami Shivananda taught that was not his material, and it's the material of Emile Quay. Are you familiar with Emile Quay?
No, I've never heard.
Ah, yeah, Emile Quay. I'll drop his actually I'll spell it out. It's Emile, Emile, and Quay is spelled Coue with an accent over it, but you can get it without the accent. He has a lot of famous quotes, and I think when you start researching his work, which is from the late 1800s, you're going to see that a lot of people are utilizing his work.
Right, right. Well, there's actually quite a few of them that you know have even with the Sedona method. I know that Hale Dwoskin actually really works with the Sedona method. You know, he's the one that teaches it now, but it did originally come. Although he does give him credit. I can't remember the guy's name now off the top of my head, but you know, this was his original teaching, and then Hale Dwoskin adapted it and is
Mhm.
now using it as the Sedona method, right?
Mm.
And but he does give him credit. Like he, you know, he's
Right,
not
right, right.
like I'm
I
just stealing this
Oh,
or anything
yeah, I
like
think it's
that.
always important to give credit, but one of the most famous quotes of Emile Quay's is, "Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better."
Yeah.
Now, I've heard people morph it and add an extra better, thinking that's gonna make it better. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better and better. Um, so, uh, you know, the original works there. You don't have to redefine or redesign it, and I'm really looking forward to getting deeper into it. That would be the one, what Emile Quay called was the overall safe to use anytime. So would you like to know a little bit more about how and when to use it to get really good results from it?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to share it. The times that work the best are when you're dozing off to sleep or
Hmm.
just coming out of sleep. These are the times when the mind is really receptive to information. And what he recommended is to make a string with some knots on it, or you could make like a little mala of beads, and they don't have to be more than 20. I tend to count when I'm chanting on my fingers, because I've learned how to use the joints of the fingers and get a lot more than just 4 or 5 out of one hand,
Yeah.
and know what I'm counting, even if I'm kind of in a half here, half not here state. And to do it, to practice it. But I've been experimenting with it. You know, we get that sub vocalization, we hear that stuff that goes through the mind. Everybody experiences this. But what I've been doing is using it as a way to kind of cancel it. You know, when I catch a sub vocalization that I don't find is quite savory or choice, then I will stop and I will repeat this several times. And it is quite effective, I have to say. I've been doing this for a few days, and since we were talking about it intensively the other night in class, and I wanted to give that to everybody. I mean, that's an incredible gift if you can get your mind back on the positive anytime you start feeling yourself drifting into the doubt. And that's a big part of manifesting. Like when you're asking us,
Mhm.
when will I find love? We'll start realizing every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
I love that, actually. There's actually a few methods, and in regards to when you're starting to fall asleep. And it's basically, there is a couple of others ones where you sort of send out that energy of what would happen if.
Yep.
At what would happen if. And when you have that question, your mind automatically goes to, well, this is what could be created.
Oh,
And it
right.
brings you into a relaxed state, right? Especially if you are in just about to fall asleep. Now, if you ask it 3 times, you see, now your mind is you're basically allowing your mind to start really focusing on what it is that you're desiring in the way that you want to desire it, or the way that you want to create it, instead of it being a negative form. Now, the one way to know if your mind or your subconscious is hanging around the negative realm is going to be if you're not seeing a more positive creation come through. So if you're asking yourself, what could happen if A, B, C, D, whatever. Your mind
So
automatically goes negative.
I call these lofty questions
Right.
when I'm coaching clients, and there's so many different ways. Another way is to say, "Wouldn't it be nice if?" Or "Wouldn't it be nice?" And then
Yeah,
what you
but the
want.
only thing is that when you say that, what you're doing is, when you're saying, wouldn't it be nice, you're putting it into a future tense. So you don't want to put anything into a future tense, right? You
Oh,
want to
well, you could
create,
say, "Isn't it nice?"
yeah, exactly. Isn't it nice? Like it's great
Or
that
"Isn't it
I'm
great?
here.
Isn't it lovely?" I mean, I'm just using that phrase
Yeah,
as an example, but uh yeah, there is, what is her name? Chrissy. She's quite famous in LA. Uh she works with a lot of really high-end clients. She talks a lot about this when it comes to manifestation and these types of questions, using them at these times. Also, look, if you're meditating, if you're doing yoga nidra, or using guided meditation or hypnosis, self-hypnosis, these are all times when you can use these types of phrases. But
right.
back to Emil Quay, you can you can guarantee yourself, if you keep repeating every day in every way, I'm getting better and better, then it's going to start happening. I've used it to unblock situations. Look, we go through periods
Mm,
of time when stuff stagnates. Maybe if you're a creative person, maybe you haven't made anything, or you haven't touched your tools, or if you're a writer like me, you might go through periods where you just don't feel like it, or even with exercising or cooking. I mean, it could be anything. Cleaning, we've all run into it. But I think that when we start to use these auto suggestions and work with ourselves at these times, we can really proactively shift things quickly.
absolutely. One of the things too is that I will do is I'll say, how do I? So let's say I want to know something. Let's say I want to learn something, or I want to have whatever it is. Like I want the knowledge of something. How do I do this? And I'll say, how do I? And you just, kind of let it be. How do I make bread? But you're thinking it, right? And you're pretty much asking the universe, like, show me, how do I do this? How do I do this? And it's interesting how many, all of a sudden you'll notice teachers, coming through. Now, whether the teachers are all of a sudden, it could be a recipe online that you'll just happen to see as you're scrolling one day, or you'll see this, or you'll see a billboard, or maybe even somebody will come right up to you and say, hey, you know what? I don't know why, but I have the greatest bread recipe. I want it. Can I share it with you? But this will happen.
Yeah. This is also like, say you're in the market for a new car and you have identified the car that you want to get. You will start seeing more and more of those cars in the color you want on the road. I mean, what you're saying, when you were just sharing that, all I could think of is, yeah, but our devices are listening, even if they're off, even if the battery's pulled, and we'll still find stuff in our Google feed of that. And it's mind blowing how our devices are listening. So I'm thinking, well, yes, if I'm asking, how would I make bread? I mean, I start seeing it on my phone. But with something like buying a car and going out on the road and then seeing that car over and over and over again in the color you want, the model you want, that's not because your device threw all those cars on the road. But then my question is,
I know,
weren't they there already?
I mean, gray Lexus everywhere. And I'm like, I said to my son, I want a gray Lexus. I don't know, like those really nice dark, those really nice dark gray Lexus. And now we're driving around and he's like, there's one there. And I'm like, I know, they're everywhere. And then
it always happens like that.
I said, maybe I wouldn't mind seeing a Mercedes. And then, we get into the parking lot today and there is 3 of them right in a row, like not in a row, but like distributed throughout and then we saw this old clunky one come along and he's like, well, that's a Mercedes. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what century that one's from, but it's not this one. It doesn't count.
Some of the Mercedes from the 60s were beautiful.
No, this one was like ugly rusted 80s or something like that. I don't know what it was, but I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of funny. But we did actually have so we have a question coming through. Actually, Lefty, if you don't mind just posting your question. I don't think we have your actual question coming through here.
Should I see something in the chat or no?
It depends. You might see it through on YouTube. I don't know if somebody's on Facebook. I'm not sure if you're able to see it on your end or not.
I see in the comments. Yeah, I see things coming through there. Yes.
Okay. I know Love2 donated, and I know that Will was looking for a reading as well. And also Nicole, or Nicola, I believe it was Nicola. She was asking about her mom.
Okay.
Her mom had passed in January, and she was just wondering if any messages came through. I don't know. Do you do medium readings at all?
I mean, I could pull some cards. I have done a lot of that work in the past, but I really like people to stay in the now. And as far as it goes with people who have gone on, left their bodies, transformed, died, they're actually still available for you to talk to. So I always encourage people to speak out loud to them and communicate themselves. And also I like to teach people to do it through their dreams. I question sometimes the healthiness of doing this work, because I don't like to keep people stuck in something. I find a lot of people want to know, are they okay? Yes, of course they're okay. They're not encumbered by a body. We have to remember that that our society treats things backwards. We celebrate birth and we weep at death when it should be the other way around. Because when we're here in a body, there's work to do. And when we move on, when we transform out of this body, we're free to fly. But what I am picking up from your mom is that, first of all, I want you to know you had a very distinct, very strong soul union, and that the emotional connection is still there, but I don't want you to treat it like an attachment. And that there that what I'm telling you is something that even she, or the what you saw as she, because is that soul in gender? No. Is that you are very, very deeply connected, and you have access if you want guidance. So what I'd like to tell you is to please tune in through your dreams. And you can do this by there's a simple method of just having a glass of water by your bed and taking a few minutes to focus on it, focus questions you want to ask the being that you want to connect with, and drink half the glass, cover it, because it's not good to leave your water uncovered, and go to sleep. And then in the morning, drink the rest of the water. That's the simplest method. There are other methods of doing this. I never recommend that you do it more than 3 nights in a row with the same question. But if you get the answer, I do recommend that you give some sort of thank you. Go out and give some birdseed or peanuts to the squirrels and the birds. Give something to the earth. Leave some food for the fairies. Chocolate and ribbon. When you brush your hair, give your hair to the birds. Make it an offering. Make an offering somehow to say thank you for that information that comes through in your dreams. This is also part of the law of attraction. This will help you attract more in the future. Was there anything deeper that
I actually just wanted to ask Nicola a question. I just want to see if I'm actually tapping into if this is somebody who is your mom that's coming through. I really, sometimes I try to stay out of, sometimes they'll show me, last moments, or they'll show me things that, are going on around them at that time. And I just need to ask, was she in the hospital? Because I do keep getting, I keep hearing a lot of machines, and I'm not sure exactly what that is. It does feel like the heart machines and all of that stuff is what I keep getting shown. But I'm also getting this viewpoint of her being, like, I want to say lying down, and this is the viewpoint that she's getting. It's like there's a lot of machines above in some way. No, she wasn't, but my grandma was. Because I'm also getting like an image of somebody, again in that hospital, but it kind of feels like when they stepped away from their body, I'm being shown, like, again, an image of them laying really flat. And I know it sounds, I know that sounds very, what's the word? Typical, I guess. But what I'm also getting is like, it's like this thinning grayish hair, but it just really feels like she, I want to say, like, she was like, thank God I'm going, is what I keep getting. Like, she was wanting to, step away from that body, is what I keep getting. Now I don't know if people were around her at the time, but I do feel, yeah, that would be my grand. Okay. And I do feel that I get 3 individuals that are on, for some reason, the right side. I believe it's the right side of the bed. Was her bed near the window, or at the very least, like the wall towards the X, like, on, not near the door, but it would be like near the wall, like across the room, I want to say. And what I'm getting shown is her head. Like, let's say you come in a door, you come in the door, her head would be, like, the head of the bed would be to, I guess, would be my right, but at the end of the room. And it appears to me that there's I'm being shown 3 people. There could be more, but it seems like 3 main people, or there's 3 people around. And she says, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, right next to the window. Okay. And Yeah, like the message. So it's not your mom, but it is your grandmother. Is this your mom's mom? Because it does feel like there's a distance there. So I'm not I kind of need that confirmation. I think, like, was this your mom's mom that you're talking about? Oh, okay. Me, brother. Okay, that's why the distance is coming through, because I was like, this doesn't feel like it, like they know each other, but it doesn't feel like, I don't want to, I don't know. It didn't feel like there was a deeper, connection there, but there's a recognition, for sure. And really what I get is, okay, so yes, no, this would be your dad, because this doesn't feel like it was before you were born. Like, this feels, within this time period, I guess. I think you were saying me, you, your brother, and your sister were standing next to your grandma. Is that right? I'm not sure. Sorry. Anyway, I'm just going with what it is that I'm hearing and what I'm seeing at this particular time. But really what I do get is she was actually quite happy. Like, I'm literally getting her getting up, after she passed, or being in a place of standing, looking at her body and just being like, okay, checking out, like, I'm good to go. And this was sort of a comfort for her. So she was in a good place when she went, is really what I'm saying.
Is that
uh
is that what she wants to know, or does she want a message from her?
you know what, I can only, if a message comes through, that's all I can. I'm not getting a message. I think a lot of times
So I have something
the
for you.
confirmation, sometimes, of that being that person, is sometimes the message, because they're saying that I'm here. But yeah, if you have a message, by all
Yeah,
means.
yeah. Nicola, are you in a relationship right now? Are you in a committed relationship? I'll just wait for her to respond, because that's what I'm picking up information about, is that she wants you to wake up to something in your committed relationship. There's a path you've been taking, and you need to back up and look at a bigger picture. Yeah. Do you have children? Because it's around your nuclear family. Been with your boyfriend for 10 years. Yeah. Well, there's something to wake up to within this relationship, and relationships are always evolving because they're reflections of where we are. So if you could give us something more pointed, I'm sure we can give you a more clear answer. Should we move on to somebody else's question?
Yeah, absolutely. So Will would like to know, he's a Taurus,
Okay.
and I think he just wanted a general message, actually.
Okay. Nothing in particular, huh? Let's just pull some cards and see what happens. You want to go first, Kathy?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Ah, there's someone you're interested in, but yet you haven't completely moved fully away from the previous relationship. And the number one key, the thing to focus on right now, is getting much clearer about your communication. Communication is the key. And I feel like I say this over and over and over, that trust is built on clear communication. And this is a very necessary, integral cornerstone of all relationships. And so I keep getting messages of, you got to let that one from the past go. Look, we learn lessons from our past relationships. And then as we move forward, sometimes we bring those lessons with us. This is that prarabdha karma I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we may get a level of understanding, but then we get another relationship and boom, we're getting it at a more intense level. I mean, how many of us have had that experience? I have. And so what the key thing I'm picking up on for you is you have to go back and look at what you haven't fully released. It's perfectly acceptable to say, I loved these things about this relationship, and put that on your must-have list. But if you're focusing on what I don't want, guess what? You're going to manifest more of that. And that's where I see you right in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting. I do get that. I just want to say beforehand, remember guys, if you do want a reading, there's a banner going across the screen as to how to receive a reading. You can donate through Oracle Intuitions no, that's not true. you can donate through crogers5555@gmail.com. That can be through PayPal, or if you're in Canada, email transfer, and we will be more than happy to do your readings for you. So I agree with what Ambika is saying. Here's the thing, Will. I'm also getting here. I think you're starting to just get into this understanding of some sort that you are actually the master of your life. Okay. And it seems to really be coming through a lot stronger now. Yes, you might have to do some releasing. Okay, for sure. But you know what? Don't we all? Right? Like, sometimes even if it's just in regards to a particular person, by releasing the things that we might be holding on to, it really does bring us into a new level with either that person, or at least some sort of forgiveness, but it does help. It does help us evolve. Okay. So by releasing that, it will make a difference. But you are really starting to learn, especially with this magician coming in, that you are the master of your life, and that you're starting to understand, or have a better understanding, that you are really in control. You're the one that is doing the changes. You're the one that's doing the work. And I think you're starting to really understand this now, rather than sort of being in a place of how come things aren't happening, or how come this isn't working out. It's interesting when I pulled these cards. So, I mean, I have shuffled my cards really quite often so here's the thing. The first card that came through was that Five of Pentacles. So there is that little bit of energy of feeling left out in the cold, feeling like things aren't maybe didn't work out the way that you wanted them to. But then I've got coming through four major arcanas, and one was the Magician, the other one is the Fool, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Sun. Beautiful energy. Absolutely beautiful energy. And really what it's telling you is that through this manifestation, and through this taking control, and changing your thought patterns, changing what it is, like you're taking control now of your life. You're really starting to see the results of this. And Will says, I am the master of my life, slowly, truly learning that. And with that Wheel of Fortune, basically, as we talked about when I tell a story, through the tarot. So the Magician is you taking control. In order for those new beginnings coming through, you're taking a leap of faith, and by releasing that old energy, we've got the Wheel of Fortune coming in. So basically saying, I'm going to be able to draw in the things that actually make me happy and bring me to this place of peace within myself, no matter what it is. And I feel like this is what's really starting to happen for you. So I want to say to you, if you do find yourself in that place of that Five of Pentacles, where you're starting to, go backwards a little bit, really grasp what it is that you're going backwards about, and start really moving forward with it. Do that releasing energy of whatever it is that you need to release, and just recognize it for what that energy is at the moment. So when you're in a place of negativity, or if you get into a place of, not being able to release, or, let's just call it as it is, a little bit of pouting and moping that we all can kind of do, right? Just go, okay, I know exactly why I'm doing this. There's something coming up that I need to release, because now I'm moving forward. And I feel that because of this energy, there's going to be huge steps and leaps and bounds for you. And I'm already seeing that, we're already seeing that. And I feel like you're already seeing this also. So I hope that helps. that was just a little message coming through from spirit. Then we have Love Tea, and she is asking, where is Love Tea? Just one sec. Sorry. Oh, she wants to know what R's feelings are for her, please. And she's an Aries. He's a Capricorn.
Okay, I just want to say something. As an astrologer, just throwing a sun sign at me means absolutely nothing.
Okay.
As an astrologer, if it means something to you, Cathryn, great. But
it does help me.
We all have all
sure.
12 houses. We all have all 12 signs. We all have however many planets the astrologer is using. And just giving me a sun sign just makes me want to laugh. I actually write about this all the time. You can find things on my blog. I've got some new articles I'm posting, and even some teaching videos for you for free, so you can go and learn about the 12 signs. But I want you to understand, everybody, your sun only represents a tiny part of you. Actually, your ascendant, I would much rather you tell me what your ascendant is. That would tell me a whole lot more, because that gives me house placement. And then I can, if you give me your sun, moon, and ascendant, that would be the best if you're just going to give me 3 things. But as far as R's feelings, let's see what's going on there. I want to give a good shuffle. I always like to ask clients when I have them live, I'm wondering why you're asking me about somebody's feelings when you know the person and I don't.
Me?
No, I say this to clients.
Okay.
It's like, go talk to the client. I mean, go talk to your friend. Go talk to your boyfriend. Go talk, if you are wondering their feelings, then you're not getting clear communication. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's typical in our profession for people to ask this, but after 45 years of hearing these questions, I have begun to wonder, why don't you talk to your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband? I'll tell you the feelings. What's going on is exactly what I said. I just pulled one card, and it is the 9 of Swords. And this shows me there are many conversations that need to be had that are creating anxiety inside of you, wondering what's going on in the other person's head. Now, I know a lot of people are not great at sharing their feelings. So what I would encourage you to do is start to work on ways that are comfortable to share feelings. I don't think we're taught this. If we were taught as little kids, like say you were in first grade, and you were taught to sit down knee to knee, eye to eye with a friend, and each person got 2 minutes to just talk, and you listen, and then you get 2 minutes to talk and they listen with absolutely no feedback. This is how we start to create a bond where we can communicate. Now, I know you know what I'm talking about. There's chaos here, and that's why you're asking us about this person's feelings, because you're concerned what's going on here. You're not feeling solid ground in the relationship, and you're feeling like something might turn in a different direction. But I do see that R has very strong feelings for you and does think very highly. So if I was coaching you as a couple, I would put you through exercises of communication so that each of you felt comfortable and knew how to go to the other one and say, I'm feeling a little off right now. I'm feeling insecure, and I want to feel more security. I want to feel more grounded. I want to feel more connected with you. And if, this is something really standard in couples counseling, to, hold hands or touch knees, have some body contact. It doesn't have to be intense, and to look into each other's eyes and to listen. And this is what we need to learn to practice. And if you've got little kids, teach them. This is such an important part of relating. But what's happening with what's been happening in the world is we're being taught separation, and we're being taught fear about touching each other and about clearly communicating, so it's becoming more and more difficult. And I just pulled a card from my Stranger Things majors, and it's the Star. And the Star is also about, getting to a place where you're comfortable. This is Lucas, if you know the series. Lucas is a very volatile character. He's not really good at going to his friends and saying, "I'm feeling a little freaked out by this," or I don't. He'll blow up and say, "No, I don't want to do it," or he'll shut things out. And that's what's happening here in your communications. Even though he feels so strongly about you, the key here is you've got to find some new ways to get into being able to feel comfortable to share feelings. Now, it is very typical. I don't want to, I'm sorry I'm stereotyping, but I have 45 years of experience here. People who identify female tend to want more feeling, and people who identify more masculine tend to not want to deal with that. And that's as a product of how we raise each other in society. And you are suffering this right now. So you've got to find a new method between the pair of you.
When I look at the energy, Love Tea, between you and R, there definitely is this energy that's coming through here. Okay, the first thing I actually got is I'm pulling these. Did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah.
Was that in your space?
Yep. I don't know if it's thunder or lightning or if it was gunshots. Well, who knows?
Do you live in the city?
We do. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it's far away from here. It's not like in our area. I guess
I was wondering if it was like an aberration making a sound in your space.
No, that was something going on. We actually have a standoff, I guess, it's a few miles from here, a few kilometers from here. But I guess the cops have somebody trapped in. And
wait, you're in Canada. Aren't you supposed to be polite there?
Yeah. We're only, yeah. At one point, and then we got our prime minister, who we have now, and that's
let's not go there. Let's not go there, Cathryn.
But they
let's
what
not get
we're
into
getting
that.
here, I'd love to, is what's it's interesting, because it really feels like you're kind of lost in your head. You're sort of wondering, is he lying? Is he being honest? Is there somebody else? Is this over? I do feel like there's this energy here that things might have been a little bit stagnant right now, or maybe perhaps you're feeling that there's a stagnancy, or that it's not moving forward in some manner. Because there's a lot of interesting cards that are coming through here that really depict, being in a place of stagnancy. We've got the Four of Swords, we've got the Hermit, the Two of Swords, the Hangman. These are very like stuck type of energies. And so I do get that feeling. And then we've got the Seven of Swords, where you're like, okay, can I trust him? But I feel more like the Seven of Swords, when I'm looking at this, is actually more for you. And it's really saying, I feel like what Spirit is saying here is not everything as it seems. And I feel like you're going back to old energies, or old things that keep being brought up in some manner, or things that you've already been through with this man. So, you've been in this place where if he goes quiet, you're assuming that he's with somebody else, or you're assuming that there's, something else going on, or it feels like there's a little bit of assumption that's coming through here. What I'm getting we're actually about to get a storm. What I'm getting here is in regards to his energy towards you, I'm actually getting the Lovers, the Page of Cups, the Six of Pentacles. I feel like things might feel, or they might in your head feel like there's a little bit of stagnancy that's happening. But the reality of it is I feel like things are actually moving at a pace that they're supposed to be moving at. Okay. And this is actually giving you time to, take a look and go, is this really what I want for a relationship? How can we improve this relationship? How can we, both be a better contributor in some way to this relationship? And this is why things aren't moving at the speed of lightning that you would like at this time. So I feel like, for right now, just sort of go with the flow. And I think that that's where you're having a little bit of trouble with, is you're having trouble kind of going with the flow of the relationship at this time. And I also do get what Ambika was talking about when we talk about the energy of being able to be more upfront, because I feel like there is a fear within you that if you're scared, you're scared to ask. If I ask, he might disappear. Or if I ask, or if I try to get honesty, he's going to disappear. And hell, we have all gone through that, and that's the thing, you ask a question and they fucked off. Excuse my language. But, but here's the thing. If they're going to screw off, then maybe they're just not the person, right? If they can't be honest and open, and if they can't come to you with, hey, granted, there is a difference between, hey, I've answered your question to the best of my knowledge, and there's this, poking the bear, I guess, sort of response, right? But at the same degree, I do feel that this is a lot of what is happening here. And I just feel like kind of go with the flow, right? And if you're scared that he's going to disappear from asking him a question or to getting honesty, then that's something that, how can you live a life like that? Like, how do you plan a future for that person? Right? Because if you're trying to get a response, one that's logical, like a logical response, right, out of somebody, and they're not responding to you, then why are you wasting time with this? Right? But I feel like for right now, things just need to go with the flow. And that's what I keep getting for you, Love Tea. So I hope that helped. I hope that gave you some sort of, clarity there. Because I do feel there are strong feelings here. They're just sort of coming into play at this point. Okay, remember, guys, we are, I think that we're getting pretty close to going over time here soon. If we will take the next paid reading that comes through, if it comes through in the next 5 minutes, just remember that all of the information is right above, going across the screen, if you want a paid reading. And we'll just give it another 5 minutes here. And yeah, so tell us about some of the things that you do when you do personal readings, Ambika.
So as an astrologer, I really help you map things out. Now, if you've never talked to an astrologer, of course, we begin with your natal chart. And then we can see information about your high points, your challenges. A lot of people want to know, what am I supposed to be doing with my life, which is called Dharma. And what's my path? What's my calling? And maybe you've worked in the workforce and now you've come to a place where you want to give back, and you might not know. So I see it as I'm your navigator reading a map. And wherever you are, we look at the timeline, because there are different ways to measure. We have to understand that astrology is a time mapping.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different layers and ways that we can look at things in time. So when asking timing questions, yes, I want to use accurate data of date, time, and location, because yes, time matters. Around 9 o'clock is not a time. An astrologer can pinpoint to the second. Each minute on Earth is a fraction of a degree in space. So every 4 minutes on Earth is equal to 1 out of the possible 360 degrees in space. So if you're not giving me accurate time, I'm not reading your chart, which is why sun sign is just a piece of it. I need to know the whole configuration. I have worked for owners of Fortune 500 companies, helping them to find happiness. I've worked for investment bankers, helping them to make huge decisions. Business owners looking at, should I start my business here? People like me who are writers, where should I release my book? I have an idea to tour these different places. What would be the best day and time to release my book? Couples coming to me to understand each other more deeply, to learn more about communication, and to do things like decide, do we really want to get married, or is it better to just do a hand fasting, an
Right.
agreement, and not make it legal? Because people, marriage has nothing to do with love. When we're getting divorced, are we fighting over give me my love back? We're saying give me my property back. So we need to remember that marriage is an agreement of an incorporation of property. So I do a lot of that kind of coaching. I think I coach couples a lot, but also, like I said earlier, people trying to figure out, maybe your next move. When we got locked down, that changed vocations for a
Mhm.
lot of people, and they needed a lot of guidance about, what do I do now? How do I do this? I taught university holistic health at the university level for 21 years. So I don't know if you all know this, but our Western medical system is based on astrology and work of Hippocrates. So I can do a lot to help coach you with better choices for staying younger and more vital and vibrant. Timing, definitely. Locational astrology, which is called astrocartography. I once had a family that each person who came into it had children. So, like the Brady Bunch, bringing in 3 kids here, 3 kids here,
Right.
the couple. So now I've got 8 people. I have to analyze these 8 people as a tribe and then figure out where in the world they could move, because they had a choice of 3 different locations, and I had to cross analyze everybody and how it would affect them, and bless their hearts, as parents they decided to put it more for their children's well-being than their own, because they had a choice of these 3 locations, and it was very distinctly, this one's better for you and this one's really great for your spouse, but neither of those are so great for your kids. So that was a lot of work. I've
Oh, I
done
bet,
work
right?
with organizations, with companies, where I've crunched entire companies and then given information as far as, you've got your hunter gatherers in the wrong position, or this person is really an HR person and you've got them in sales, or the other way around. So these are the types of things I can really help with. We go through biorhythmic periods, and sometimes we go through challenging times. From looking at astrology from a Jyotish, which people call Vedic astrology perspective, there are these time periods ruled by different planets with sub rulership coming in and out through the whole period, the longest being the one that is dominated by the North Node, which is probably the toughest to get through. Not everybody is born with that in their chart, unless you're going to live to be a couple hundred years old. Hey, I'm not saying you can't.
Yeah.
We're not going to have a Pluto return. That would take about 245, 248 years. So, we look at certain time periods like the Saturn returns. At your birthday time is a great time to have a reading or a follow-up with me, because each year we have a solar return. That's what our birthday is. That's what we're celebrating, another trip around the sun. And that chart is very specific. Each year we have a couple, 2 eclipse seasons. Sometimes there's 3 eclipses involved, or 2 in these seasons, and these set a 6-month time frame. So okay, we've got your yearly time frame, your 6-month, and then we've got the lunar time frames of each month. And we hear all this talk of new moons and full moons, but these generalizations, they're lovely and poetic, hopefully, but How are they aspecting you? What are they doing to you? So I've had clients that come to me maybe getting into a relationship or wanting to maintain a relationship or
Mhm.
get deeper in a relationship or find out more about what the other person's thinking. And I like to coach them also together if I can. But if it's a single person looking, say, to manifest a relationship
Mhm.
or a new job, then sometimes, you might want it right now, but maybe 3 months from now is when it's going to be a lot more in your favor, a higher potential. So being your navigator is what I do. But if you want something and it might be weaker in your chart, because some things could even be dormant. If you think of each house in the chart like a garden
Mhm.
and each planet like a seed, and the sign it's in gives you the quality and the weather that's going on in that garden, sometimes the seed won't even mature. And it could be sleepy, or it could be old, or it could even be dead. We use terms like this in astrology. I usually don't use it with my clients, I usually interpret it, but we'll
Right.
say, a planet, like for instance, I was born on the 27th of October. And the day I was born, the sun was in its one position, its 1 degree, with its 60 minutes in that 1 degree, 60 space minutes, not Earth minutes, when the sun is called debilitated.
Mhm.
So a novice astrologer could say, oh, you're screwed. You know, you have the debilitated sun, you know, forget it.
Right.
And remember, the sun represents the ego. Do I seem like I have no ego? I don't think so. And but then if you look further in my chart, you might see Venus is completely unaspected. Nothing in my chart is aspecting Venus. And a novice astrologer could say, oh, forget it on love. You'll never have it because
Mhm.
Venus is unaspected. But if you back up from this and you see Venus and the power Venus has in my chart, you'll see that she completely cancels out that debilitated sun.
Oh,
So we have to understand there's high points and low points in a chart. And
right.
we have to back up and get all the checks and balances and look at
Yeah.
all the elements and all the things going on there to truly understand it. So I love to unravel this and tell the stories of you through your blueprint, which is your natal chart. And
Right.
so I do need the accurate date, time, and location. It's most unfortunate when people come to me and they've been adopted
Mhm.
and they don't know the birth time. Can I work with that? There is a little bit we can do, but
Mhm.
with timing, if you can't give me timing, I can't give you timing. And I
Yeah.
once had a client who didn't even know what day he was born.
Oh, wow.
That's just I
Yeah.
mean, that's like, wow. It was a 3-day window. So this does happen. But now with modern times, if you're having a baby, put that stopwatch on and get the seconds, get your timer giving you
Mhm.
the actual seconds, because if I can get it down to the seconds after the minute after the hour, that's even better,
I know when my
especially for the Vedic astrology. But it's really helpful for riding these waves of life,
Mhm.
and also helping you to understand, if you're going through a challenging time and your chart totally gives me that information of now is a challenging time, then it's my job to not say you're screwed, but to say, let's look at ways we can help you get through this. Let's look at what aspects are coming up, what moons are coming up, what your progressed moon chart looks like. And I
Mhm.
also look at the declinations of the planets and the progression of the moon and relationship. There's a lot of math involved in this, everybody, but I was a math whiz in high school. So it was really comfortable for me to get into this and to really start to understand the geometries and the configurations within the mandala. That is you. You're a beautiful mandala to me in
Mhm.
astrology. So I can answer probably, I think I can answer even more with astrology than with tarot, but I'm more than happy to blend it together if you want a little bit of both. And so you can easily access my calendar at my website at ambikadevi.com. And also, I encourage you to join my mailing list, because I promise to only send you one a month. And I have a community gathering every month. And I happen to have one tomorrow night with my professor. My PhD professor is speaking to my community, and these are free gatherings. So this is something really fun. Sometimes we watch a movie. Like a couple months ago, a friend of mine who was part of making a documentary about the earth and climate change gave us access to his documentary movie. And then he came and spoke with us live, and we got to ask him questions.
That's
He's
cool.
from the Hopi tribe. He's amazing. He teaches in Arizona, in Tucson.
That's
At the university. And so these community gatherings are great. I've done life coaching, career counseling, financial help, even, you know, if you're looking at things. Like, I have one client who is he's an entrepreneur and an investor, and asked me about starting a business at a particular time in a particular place, things like that. But really, I think the type of counseling I love doing the most is teaching you how to have a better relationship with yourself, and realizing, whoa, I'm doing exactly what I came here to do as per my astrology chart, and making you feel more comfortable with yourself. When we feel more comfortable, we're more receptive to pulling in and attracting much more positive things in our lives.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so again, people can contact you at ambikadevi.com, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Purple Ocean as well.
Oh yeah, Purple Ocean. It's just Ambika there, so
Yeah.
not so much to look
I go
for.
by my first name on there as well. It's just under
That's why
Cathryn.
you were one of the first people I met when I started working there a few years ago, and I was instantly attracted to your profile, and I thought, you know what? I'll just use my first name. I'll be
Yeah.
me. You know, I'm not going to make some sort of, cosmic star person guide, but I will do
Mystic witch or
faster.
something.
I will blow your mind in 3 minutes if you want one of our, what we call rush orders. Our 3-minute video responses. You will be surprised what I can tell you in 3 minutes just from your natal chart.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, if you do want a reading with me, when I do readings, if you book on my website, basically what it is, it's going to be a one-on-one, like where I'm talking to Ambika right here. It would be very similar, or through phone, if you want. And whatever is more comfortable for you. A link is automatically sent to you for your personal reading, and this would lead you to basically exactly what the same type of screen that you're seeing. The only difference is it's not on YouTube, and it's very private. It's a private link.
Right. I conduct all my work also on Zoom, and you have the ability to record it, and then you have it right away. So, but I also will do through phone, and you can find me through my site. You can find me on every social media site, so you can message me wherever you feel most comfortable. I think that's why I maintain all these social sites, is because different people, I see it generationally, different generations feel more comfortable communicating on different platforms,
sources and stuff like that.
But you're more than welcome to message me on any. And each month when I send out my newsletter, in addition to your free golden ticket that I give you to my monthly gatherings, I also teach a little bit of real astrology to you. So you begin to learn. That's the number one thing, Kathy, when I have a client, is I don't want you to feel like you don't understand things. I want to teach you. So I also do one-on-one astrology teaching. If you want to do a course with me, we can do it also through Zoom.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you. It was so good to see you. I'm so happy that you were here with us.
I love it. I hope you'll keep having me as a guest.
Oh, absolutely. I would love that. It was such a good time. And as always, and guys, remember, make sure that you're subscribed. Again, you have our website. Sorry, my brain is getting lost in my head here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Take care and have a wonderful night. Make sure that you have subscribed and click the notification bell as well. Take care, everyone.